Hello everybody. We are running a tiny little bit late. We are not live from Beagle. We are actually live from Cambridge. We are outside of King College. We have come here to join Animal Aid that are doing outreach today, and they're promoting their new campaign about animal experiments at universities. So I'll be interviewing Flair today, and I would like to ask you first a little bit about Animal Aid. I know they're one of the main animal rights charities in the UK, but you can tell us a little bit how long they've been running, what kind of campaigns you do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming down to chat to us today. Animal Aid is actually nearly 50 years old. We were set up in 1977. And we do campaign across a range of issues. Animal experiments is very close to our heart. It's something that we have been campaigning on since the beginning, which is why we're actually here in Cambridge today. So you mentioned our university's challenged experiment, which is what we are trying to share information about today, because I think many people don't even realise that animal experiments are still taking place in Britain. About 3 million animals every year are used in experiments in Britain, but half of those actually take place in universities. And there is no legal requirement to do this. It's just it's called curiosity-led study. So it's actually kind of lazy research, because it's not scientific, it's not in the pursuit of knowledge, and it's obviously very cruel and quite barbaric, and better science exists. So that's why we're here today. But Animal Aid is also super active across a whole range of topics. We campaign against shooting, against the use of cruel snares in the countryside, obviously animal agriculture and animal farming, so we do lots of undercover investigations. We have a wonderful campaign against horse racing, jump racing in particular, which claims the lives of about 200 horses every year in Britain again. So we're very, very active. We work across a lot of topics.
So this university, Challenge University campaign,
yes.
How long have you been running it, and why did you decide to start it on this specific topic?
Okay, so this is a relatively new campaign, because whilst we have previously worked on animal experiments in a whole range of ways, so for example, we have a student conference that we've been putting on. It's now going to be in its third year this year, and we work with A-level students to help educate them, inspire them and inform them about alternatives to animal testing. So we're helping them to learn about how they can future-proof their careers, because obviously if they're learning animal testing, that is old science. That is what we were doing 100 years ago. And back then, the technology we were using was completely different. Now we all have smartphones, miniature computers in our pockets, and we're still using the same old basic science for medical research, things like this. It makes no sense. So we've got the Future of Science conference, and we've been working in this area. But as I mentioned, half of all animal experiments take place in universities. And that's like 1.5 million animals every year that are enduring brutal, painful, pointless, hideous experiments for no good reason. No good reason.
Do all universities use animals in experiments?
No, not all universities. And the campaign is actually trying to encourage universities to pledge, to commit that they are going to stop doing this. We have resources on our university's challenged website, which is available for students to find out if their university tests. We've got an interactive map online where people can check and see which universities have committed not to test, or which are currently still doing things, and learn more about the experiments that are taking place.
And what kind of experiments these universities use? I know you use the word curiosity, but could you be a bit more specific?
I mean, they can be anything and everything. Some of them seem so bizarre. I mean, we've all heard of the kind of forced swim tests where you have mice or pregnant mice forced to swim around to see if it affects the brain development of the child inside them when they struggle for oxygen. At the moment, at King's College, at Cambridge University, we are specifically focusing on the marmoset experiments that I think people don't even realise that they are still testing on monkeys, still testing on marmosets, and these experiments are actually hideous. We've all seen those old photographs of monkeys with part of their brain cut out, and they've got tubes in them and they've got tubes stuck in their hearts. They are still taking place, and they're trying to find out about pleasure receptors and anxiety, but in no way does that represent what a human would go through. It's not about a situational experiment. These animals are then killed straight afterwards, so there's not that this would make it okay, there's not even a sort of long-term plan to see, okay, well, how does this work, how does that impact them? And more importantly, they have a breeding facility on site, so they're not trying to phase this out, they have no plan to phase this out, they're breeding marmosets just to test on them and then kill them. And I think people don't realise that this is still so prevalent in Britain. So we're here today to try and raise people's awareness about this, and we'd ask anyone who's either going to university or currently at university to check our website, and they can contact their universities. They can there's loads of templates and resources online to help people, but we need to make people aware of this because better science exists and we should be using it.
And what sort of animals? And you mentioned marmosets, which is like outrageous. But do they use any kind of animals? Mainly monkeys? What kind of animals?
Absolutely any animals, really. So, I mean, they are at least definitely using, of course, rats, mice, rabbits, zebrafish, pigs, horses, sheep, dogs, beagles, cats. All animals, and yes, of course, monkeys.
I do believe the amount of beagles that are used by university is quite small, and I do believe unofficially, this is not published anywhere, that some of the reasons for that is because students do not like to experiment on dogs, because they're noisy and disturb the kind of university environment. Which is quite upsetting, really. There's no scientific reason or academic reason to choose one animal over the other one.
Well, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance around animals generally, particularly dogs and cats. People are quite happy to spend all their money and care and lavish affection on their dogs and cats, but then they'll eat chickens. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance going on anyway. But yeah, absolutely, dogs can be very emotive when it comes to people testing on them. I mean, we all, there's the little brown dog of 100 years ago or something, and I think he now has a little statue in Battersea Park.
That's right.
Medical students were rioting against the suffragette movement who were saying, hey, can we stop testing on animals? It shouldn't be that controversial, and yet emotions run really high, particularly around dogs. But I think so many people have no idea that dogs, monkeys are still routinely being used to test. And it's just poor science. Even if they had no feelings, our DNA is so very different. Even a chimpanzee has something like 98.8% same DNA as us, and yet they are a chimpanzee and we are a human. Okay, we're still very different. So yeah, poor science. We can do better.
And what response you've been getting from the universities since you started the campaign?
Well, we can't go into too many details about that right now because it's still quite a young campaign, and I know that our campaigner is in conversations with many of the universities. As you can imagine, some are more reticent than others to get involved. Those that are testing, some of them are less keen to start a conversation with us, but we've had a brilliant response from students. Students are really keen to learn more about this. They don't want to be supporting animal testing with their student loans. They don't want to be funding this. So we've had a great response from students, and it's been really inspiring.
So what can students do to support this campaign?
So students can absolutely get in touch with us and get in touch with their universities. We have templates online on our Universities Challenged website. I think that's .org.uk. It might be .co.uk, but it is .org.uk. There we go. So you can go online, you can have a look at the resources, and online there are templates available that can help you write to the dean of a university, and actually just help spread the awareness, and actually ask that your university, or a particular university, it might be your local university, will pledge to end the animal testing and commit to better science.
I think that's very important, because we sometimes forget the power of our voice. And today, students pay for their fees, so they actually have got a powerful voice. They are the ones that are bringing the money into the university, so they have got a demand that they can make.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, collectively, we have a lot of strength and we have a lot of power. And it's time that these kind of archaic institutions actually did what they said and became pinnacles of education.
Universities that are more resistant to change, what are their excuses? What do they say? What don't want to move on?
If they say anything, it tends to be that they, I mean, what it actually boils down to is that it's a financial thing. I mentioned it was lazy science, but, you know, if they're getting their funding, a lot of these things are kind of embedded ways of doing something. Oh, we've always done it like that. Oh, I need to get my funding from so-and-so. And often, you know, they'll say, well, we want you to, for example, there's a fund that I believe, actually I won't say the name in case I got this wrong, but for example there are some funds where they say no, you need to test on animals to do this, and it's simply a box ticking thing. It's not even from an organisation that's particularly science led, they're just providing the funds, and so it's really kind of, as I said, entrenched old fashioned ways of doing things. It's not anything deeper than that, really. It's not that these people want to torture animals, but that's what they've committed to do. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Claire, for speaking to us live on our Facebook page. We will share it on our Instagram page as well.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to come here to help you and support you, and to be in Cambridge, which is a very important place for animal experiments. Is one of the hearts of animal experiments in this country. It's full of laboratories, breeding sites, and the university is very much involved in this ugly, cruel business.
Absolutely. Behind these beautiful buildings and these pretty facades, there's a lot of horror and cruelty that is being hidden, and it's completely unnecessary. So thank you so much for coming down here today and giving the spotlight to this really important campaign.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Animal Aid. And we look forward to work again together at some point. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
It's time for better science, no doubt about it.